Hi everyone. So today I want to talk about all of the resources that I've been using to prep for interviews. Starting off with number one, neetcode.com. I do use LeetCode to get the problem and solve it there and run my solutions. But I was using NeetCode to help with study, and there are videos that are free that go over the solutions for each of the LeetCode problems. There's also this roadmap here that gives you the LeetCode problems that you should work on for each data structure or algorithm pattern. And I found this to be helpful instead of just picking random LeetCode video or LeetCode problems to work on and watching their videos and then moving on to the next thing and not really understanding the data structure or how the optimization is working. So I would highly recommend NeetCode. Now, if you want to get a little bit deeper into data structures and algorithms, I suggest checking out this GitHub repository from John Washam. It's called Coding Interview University. And he not only gives you a roadmap or tasks that you can check off if you do bring that repository in, there's also links to videos that are free from college universities that go deeper into data structures and algorithms. So check that one out if you want to get a bit deeper or get a refresher on data structures and algorithms. And for my system design, I've been using Hello Interview. They have this course called System Design in a Hurry, and that gives a great breakdown of how you should think about a system design problem, how you can break it down to make sure that you are kind of covering your bases when it comes to figuring out functional and non-functional requirements, building your APIs, thinking about scalability or availability. I have not done any of the mock interviews through here, but I find that mock interviews are extremely important to help practice and build that muscle so that way you're in it when you're in an interview, you are more comfortable talking about your problem, thinking it out loud while somebody else is there. And the next resource that I've been using is by a former principal Amazon engineer. This is called A Life Engineered. He's got a website, he has the YouTube videos that are extremely helpful, and more importantly, he has a Discord server. And I found the Discord server to be extremely helpful because there is an accountability channel where you can find accountability buddy or just have a group of people where every day you are checking in and keeping you consistent in our work, where a lot of times we say we're going to do interview prep that day, but then work happens and other life happens. And it's just really nice to see to have a group and have a community that's also in the interview prep process and just a super helpful group of people there. So I would highly recommend checking out the Discord, but also the YouTube videos are really great if you're not just prepar- preparing for interviews, but also if you already landed the job and you're trying to get promoted. Um, Highly recommend this. And just to wrap up, just some tips that I found to be helpful and I'd like to share with you all is that when you're learning the leak or when you're working on LeetCode problems, you want to attempt naive and the optimized solutions, and you want to understand why that optimized solution works. Is it because you're using a certain data structure? Is it because you're using a certain um, algorithm that is helping in that situation? Because a lot of times those situations will somewhat repeat and you can recognize those faster. So that way, if you get a question in an interview that maybe you've never seen before, but you recognize a pattern in that, you'll be able to come to a solution, especially the optimized solution, faster. Then I would say practice real business cases. So that means practicing coding out, either build your own project, or if you are interviewing somewhere, imagine that they're giving you a real API that you need to build out, and try doing that just to refresh how to just like code in front of somebody else, and also to think about how you would scale and build that programmatically. The next recommendation is to do the mock interviews. I at first thought that getting just doing the work on my own was enough, but I felt that I wasn't really confident in my interviews until I started doing mock interviews. Because at that point, I was so used to talking out loud, talking to somebody else about it, and just getting really comfortable in that situation that when it came time for interviews that were actually important to me, I felt a bit more confident. The next thing I would recommend is to record yourself. A lot of communication coaches offer this, or they are a big advocate of this, because then you can see what you sound like, you can see what you look like. Vin Jiang, he is an Australian communication coach, and that his videos were something that I watched a lot, and he recommends this of like just turning off, record yourself, but don't watch the video, just listen to it first. And then after that, then do the opposite of not listening to it, but just watching yourself. Like, how do you talk? What's your eye contact like? How do you position yourself? And I found this to be really helpful because then I can see how much I have filler words and say a lot, or maybe I'm like looking around the room. But yeah, I think recording yourself, it can be a little nerve-wracking in the beginning, but you'll get over it. And lastly, we have consistency, repetition, and patience. And truly, you're not going to learn unless you continuously work on it. And I would say a lot of times we can set goals for ourselves, and then as soon as we maybe don't meet that, then we just stop continuing at it. And even if you miss a day, or you set a goal to work on leak code or system design a certain amount of hours each week, and you don't meet that, continue on, then try again the next week and keep at it, because eventually it'll get easier. And then you'll build a habit where you don't even really think of it as a task. You just do it the same way you would just like brush your teeth every morning. And of course, patience. If you feel like right now you're not understanding it, or it feels like a lot, that's because it is a lot. But if you just know that each day you are building towards that and you're learning it and you continue at it, you will build that brain muscle, and you will eventually you're going to get it. So that's all the resources that I have for right now. I will continue to update if I come across any more, or if you have any, feel free to drop those in the comments below. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video.